Wouldn't it be nice if everyone had access to the basics, such as food and a warm home? Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Every year, the Welcome Centre Food Bank in Huddersfield supports thousands of adults and children who are living in poverty. We can only do this because of the generosity of donors like you. Your donations helped Kate, who after years of living with domestic violence, fled her home and ended up living on the streets. £10 provided Kate with a lightweight, non-cook food pack containing foods like peanut butter, fresh fruit and cheese, alongside items such as toothpaste and sanitary ware to help her keep clean. Your donations helped Bob get back on his feet after he took out a loan to pay for his wife's funeral and couldn't pay it back. A £20 donation meant Bob had a nutritious, balanced food pack to last a week, which included fresh veg, bread and eggs and matched his dietary needs. But the Welcome Centre is more than just a food bank. Your donations help fund our advice, guidance and support team, which offers clients one-to-one support on issues such as debts or benefits. They help us to provide our clients with a grant application service, which has helped people like Zafir. Zafir fled her homeland due to fears of persecution. She was granted the right to remain in the UK, but didn't have anything to set up her new home. Your donations helped us to provide her with a new bed, oven and hob. By setting up a regular donation from as little as £2 a week, you can help us support more people like Bob, Kate and Zafir. To donate to the Welcome Centre and make a long-lasting difference to the lives of people in crisis, visit www.thewelcomecentre.org/donate.